It makes me sad. The religious aspects felt a little weird to me, but like you couldn't pay me enough to go back to being a teenager. It is groundbreaking. Like I am going to read everything she's ever written. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my May wrap up. I was like, is it May? Yeah. Today is the last day of May. I will say I'm a little disappointed. I have 2 books I'm in the middle of that I thought I was going to finish in these last 2 days, and I in fact have not read. I think I'm getting sick. I have not felt great today, and I literally kept falling asleep, waking up until 4:30. I'm also completely breaking out. I didn't wash my face 3 days, and this is what happened. So this is all awesome. I think I've read 6 books this month, so it's still not low, but I thought it was going to be 8. Which is fine. Okay, the first book I read this month is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. I did a whole video of reading this book, if you didn't see it. So I'm not going to be going into like intense thoughts because I did a full spoiler-free video. But I gave this book 4.25 stars. I think the other 2 books I gave 5s to. I liked this one a little bit less. There were some parts that like kind of felt like they were dragging to me, and I think it might just be because of the length. Like I don't even know if it necessarily was because of this book. It just ultimately made me feel like it wasn't a 5, and also like I don't know how I feel about the ending of this book. Like if you guys know, you know. I just don't want that to be the next 2 books, and like it makes me sad. It makes me sad, but I absolutely love this series. I couldn't recommend this series enough. Her writing is immaculate. But if you guys have never read her writing, pick up the Legendborn book and just read the little prologue. But yeah, that is that on this book. And then the next book I think I read is an audiobook. Yes. Okay, then I listened to The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie, which this is a big case that came out 2 years ago, I think. I had watched the 8 Passengers videos when I was young, and I was astonished by what she was just sharing then. And I feel like in the documentary, they almost painted her to be like a loving mother until she met Jody. Is that her name? Jody. And I think in Sherry's book, she did a good job of showing like, no, this was building upon itself. Her own behavior brought us here. There was a quote I really liked. I don't remember what the exact quote was, but it was something like Ruby planted the seed that Jody sowed. Something like that, showing like Ruby was also a problem. Ruby was also abusive when they're young. I found the book very interesting. The talks about family vloggers, the way that Sherry talked about her younger siblings, or didn't talk about younger siblings, I felt very mature and something that her mom couldn't even do as an adult. So I did feel like that was very mature, and I felt like her story was very heartbreaking, like being distanced from the family and the trauma she endured, not with her family, and she couldn't even confide in them. I did ultimately give it a 4. I toyed with not rating it. There were just some times where the religious aspects felt a little weird to me, and I know she grew up Mormon, but yeah. Okay. The next book I read or listened to was Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, which is a book I own. I had tried to pick this book up 2 years ago, I think, around Halloween time. I was sitting in an airport and I picked it up, and within 2 pages, we were talking about like self-gratification. And I'm like, I am in a public space, and I forgot that horror can just have these jarring things, because at this point I was not reading any horror, but I loved the description. Like I talked about in my physical TBR video, the like creepypastas, the like those are things that I grew up on, and I was very excited for this book and the way it was described. Now, I decided to listen to it because I had not liked it when I picked it up physically, so I was like, maybe I'll get into it and then read it. And there were some aspects of this book I liked a lot. I had a lot of back and forth while reading this, where I was like, hey, no, wait, I really like it, like a 4. Then I'm like, oh, a 1. Like, I was going back and forth. I was having a really rough time. And near the end, I was like, hey, wait, I'm really liking this. I loved the way they were talking about these teen girls' dynamics and, like, exploring sexuality, kind of, and like this toxic relationship. I feel like that was done very well. And like even the cultish behavior of these teen girls I thought was very interesting. But then when we were talking about the adults and the adult part of it, I wasn't I wasn't as attached to it. And then we got to the last chapter and I was listening to it and I was driving home from work and I'm like, surely what I think is happening is not happening. And I'm pretty sure, in fact, it was, which is really gross. But I can understand why someone would like this book. So I did give it a 2, because 2 for me is usually like, I didn't like it, but I can like kind of understand. And the reason I gave it that is because there were times in this book that I liked it, but I don't know. Like, I think the writing was done well, but the last scene really threw me off and I just felt like gross and sad at the end. So I don't know. I didn't love it. Okay. Then I read Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which was exciting because this is a book I've had on my TBR for a really long time. Like, I've owned it for a really long time. Now, I gave this book a 3.5. There were parts of this book that I really wasn't, like, just wasn't interested. And there was a time in my life where I could have loved this book. Now, I don't even know if this book was out at that time in my life, but there was a time in my life where I loved retellings of, like, classic children's stories. I loved, was the show Once Upon a Time? I went as a character for Halloween. Like, there was a time where I would have loved this book. Now, that's not really the time in my life. And sometimes I have a really hard time being in, like, not that this was realistic fiction, but like being in a teenager's head where the teenager themselves feels like they're making teenage decisions. I have a hard time because I'm very frustrated, and that's no hate to teenagers, because I'm like, it's accurate, but like, you couldn't pay me enough to go back to being a teenager. Like, there were some decisions she was making that I was like, oh, but I'm like, yeah, a teenager would make that decision. And like, not thinking of the outer repercussions. Now, there were some times where I really didn't like how she was talking about her friend. I felt like that was weird. But like, I was interested. I kind of thought the ending was going to be crazier. Like, we had gotten a glimpse into what was going to happen, and I was predicting something crazier. So when it happened, I was like, okay. But yeah, I gave it a 3.5. I didn't hate it. I just like, this isn't going to be like my new favorite book or anything. Then I read All Our Hidden Gifts by Carolina Donahue. Now, there's going to be a video where I talk about this more in depth, but I did give this a 3. This book makes me so sad because I had predicted this book to be like a 5. Everything in it, I thought I was going to like. The tarot, the witchy, the found family, and a lot of it fell flat for me. There were times where I was really interested, and then we'd breeze past those points, and then we'd spend a lot of times on things that I'm like, the love interest, the love aspect, I didn't like at all. I felt like it was a weird dynamic. Like, I could have liked the characters both separately, but them together, the way one of them treated the other, I didn't like. The end was very rushed, and I felt like that was the part I was almost most interested in. It was like, oh yeah, this happened by the way, this happened by the way, this happened by the way. So yeah, but I liked it, and I really liked the concept, and I think some parts were done really well, and I think some parts were not. So yeah, I gave that a 3, which ratings have not been that good. Then after that, I picked up These Silent Delights by Chloe Gong, and I decided to listen to it because if you had watched my physical TBR, I had gotten Our Violent Ends for Christmas because I thought it was the first one. It was in fact not. Now, I think it might be because there is a book that has a similar title to one of these, and I think I had mixed them up. Like, I don't think whoever bought it for me had mixed it up. I think I had mixed it up. So sorry if my dogs keep barking, but I had picked up These Violent Delights, or whatever it's called, to listen to, because I was like, hey, I need to read that one before I read the one I actually own. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to it. And when I had read the description, I was like, hey, this isn't really something I like Romeo and Juliet, retelling, like gangsters, but fantasy. Like, all of it was not really calling to me, but I'm like, okay, well, when I decided I like this book, there must have been something that really drew me in. So I was like, I'll give it a try. And I got halfway through the book, and I decided to DNF it. Now, this is nothing against Chloe Gong or anything, like not her writing, not anything. It just really wasn't a book for me. And I was like, how I'm going to rate this is very unfair to the book. Like, and why finish it if I knew I wasn't liking it? And I gave it till halfway, and I just really wasn't intrigued. Now, I can understand why people would like that. Like, I might have said those descriptions, and you guys might have been like, oh, that's something I would have really liked. But no, I did not like it. So this book, which is on my physical TBR, was taken off the challenge because I will not be reading this because I didn't even finish the first one. But since I've been talking about my physical TBR, I felt like I should mention that. And then last book, I listened to Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde. And I had seen this recommended everywhere. Now, I have had some hard time with like activism type books because there are two things I'm looking for in a book like that. I'm either looking for one, like actual, like talking about changes and how to make them, or two, people's like life stories that are showing perspectives that are different from mine. Now, those are the two things I'm looking for when I'm reading activism books. And I feel like sometimes it is very basic information without any call to action or anything like that. And I just don't feel like I take that much away from it. Like, so I like sometimes am a little hesitant to pick up books like that. Now, this book, absolutely loved it. I could not recommend this book enough. I gave it a 5. The way she writes is so good. And the intersectionality she talks about in this book, even though it was published in 1984, is groundbreaking. Like, I am going to read everything she's ever written because the way she described things and just, oh my God, it was so good. So good. I don't have the words to describe how good it is and make it sound as good as it really is. Now, I listened to this and I will be buying a physical copy whenever I can find one because there were just so many quotes that I would love to tab or highlight so I can just go back and read. Like, insane. In the first few chapters, I was a little iffy. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because she's talking about her trip to Russia and she's talking about Iran. And it was ultimately sad because they were not the realities of those countries right now. But the points she was making weren't as accurate to like life today in those two countries. And so then I did have a hard time connecting. And so I was like, I hope the whole book isn't like this, where like I can see the point she's making and I understand and I agree with, but it's not as accurate. But that wasn't true. And it did just make me sad. And also it almost made the commentary better because it was like, although she was saying like, here are some good things that this country does, here's what they do better than the US, she also was like, here are some criticisms. Like, so at the beginning, I was like, I hope I like this. And I did. I absolutely loved it. The point she was making, I kept texting my mom and then like telling my mom, like, this was said in the book, this was said in the book. My mom was astonished when I told her it was written in published in 1984. So, could not recommend it enough. Great book. Amazing book about sectionality. Yeah. So yeah, that was my reading month. Now I literally have like an hour left of the audiobook I'm listening to, and I'm like a third done with a book, which I thought I was going to finish both of those, but it's fine. That's okay. This month I knocked 5 books off my physical TBR. So I'll call that a win, even though I only read 6. Wait, does that make sense? Yeah, because this book I didn't read. So, yeah, I call that a win. Let me pull up the statistics. So I'm at 32 out of 45 books read for the year, which I'm definitely going to finish that. I'm ahead by 13 books. I don't think I'm going to change it, though. We'll see how I feel once I have finished it. And I'm at 19 out of 33 books read for my finishing my physical TBR. Now, in my physical TBR video, I talked about I was going to take a book off and that would have made it 32. But then I realized when I took that book off, I actually hadn't added one of the Sisters Grimm books. So it actually made it the exact same. Then, it would have made it 33. And then I took off Our Violent Ends. So it did, I guess, end up being whatever number I said it was going to be. But yeah, we are at 58% for that. And we're at 70, I think. 71 for my actual reading goal. But I think that's it for this month. So thank you guys for watching. Give this a thumbs up. This month wasn't as good book-wise for me as last month. I think last month I read like 10 books, but I like loved most of them. Now this month was a little more rough, which I'm a little sad about, but that's okay. It's fine. Let's hope that June is better. I wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. I think that's going to be all. So subscribe if you want to see more. And next week's video, I'm actually not sure what next week's video is going to be. It all depends on what video I finish that I'm like currently working on. I'm probably about to fall behind on videos. I'm now realizing. No, it's fine. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's going to be all. And sorry for the short video. If I would have read more, we would have had a longer a longer video, but here we are. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.